good, YouTube? It's your boy 2K the God, my man Sess.
What
Welcome
up?
to the Gods of Boxing Talk. Now, for this segment, we got another treat for you guys. We got my man Steven Breadman Edwards. He's the trainer for, I'm about to say Jermall Charlo. Damn, Julian Williams. Those two names are gonna go together for a long time because that was a big fight that was good for the sport of boxing.
Hey, how you guys doing?
All right.
Everything's great.
Now, with further ado, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to my man, Seth, Mr. AKA the interviewer. Go ahead and do what you do, fam.
All right, man. First off, I'm always thankful, man, for anybody taking time out of their evening or their day to be with us and chat it up. So I definitely appreciate it, Mr. Edwards. But the first thing I want to do, because I know it's still fresh on everybody's mind, and I know everybody's still kind of talking about it. I want to go back to fight night, December 10th, 2016, and if you could just give us some insight on what was the game plan going into that fight with Jermall Charlo.
Basically the game plan was to use our speed, which I thought we had a little speed advantage. To kind of, each fighter catch their rhythm a little bit differently. So, Julian we was just going to use our jab, use our speed, keep the fight into the center of the ring, keep turning. Jermall has a really, really, really good jab. It's hard and it's accurate. And, he did knock Julian down with a jab, but if you notice, we kind of took his jab away from him. We kept countering with the right hand over top of it. The fight's not on YouTube, only the highlights of it. But if you watch the fight, we would take his jab away with the right hand. We was also jabbing with him and jabbing after him because jab is the most important punch in the boxing.
Absolutely.
And then kind of just let the fight settle in his own. You know what I'm saying? Jermall's a really, really good fighter, but I just thought that we had a speed and quickness advantage. So, that was the game plan initially. And then as the fight went on, we wanted to get to his body. Everybody talked about how big he is, and he is a big guy. But a lot of times when you big like that, it could be a detriment in the later rounds because you gotta eat to get that big. You know what I'm saying? And, if you notice in the Trout fight, he wasn't, he kind of faded down the stretch. So, it was our job to get him to the second half of the fight. It was watching it at the fight, obviously you can't enjoy it because it's high stress. But as I got home, and watched it on DVR, my wife always DVR'd the fight for me. It was a really good fight. You know what I mean? It was real high level, I thought we was doing good, but Julian got caught with a shot. It's boxing, and you can't, you got to give Jermall and his team full credit because they noticed the mistake that Julian would make. Although he was hitting Jermall with right hand after right hand, sometimes he leans in and overshoots the right hand. And Jermall made a good move, man, and he caught him with an uppercut.
Absolutely.
It's an old rule in boxing. You don't let your head go above. If you draw an imaginary line from the ceiling to the floor, you don't let your head go in front of your front knee.
Yep.
And Julian let his head go in front of his front knee. What's so painful about it is that it's something that we worked on, fellas. I'm talking about worked on over and over and over and over again. And I told Julian that the boy was going to throw a right hand, but sometimes, man, you just got to just chalk it up to God's will,
Yeah.
Trust me, man, it take a lot to get over a loss like that, man. I really wasn't doing well for a while, because we needed that fight, man. And I really honestly believe that I had, the more skilled fighter, but it happened, and that's that. But the game plan was to take his jab away, to just box, catch our rhythm, and go to work, man. And one thing about Jermall, he's a really, really good fighter, but he's easy to hit.
Absolutely.
Yes,
You know,
he is. He's very.
he's really, really easy to hit. You've seen the fight, man. Julian could hit him whenever he wanted to hit him. You know, and we knew that going in. You know, he's really for a guy as talented as he is and as tall as he is, you can put your hands on Jermall. But I give that kid credit because, you know, he showed a good chin. He was eating through the shots, and he was, you know what I mean? And he wasn't being discouraged, man. But a lot of times, you know, Julian wanted to knock him out early, and I kept telling them, I said, we're going to knock him out late. We're going to knock him out late, man, you know, but he got to grow up. You know, I'm not going to be easy on him and make no excuses. He got to grow up. He kept asking me how was he going to win the fight. And I kept saying, listen, man, you kill a guy like that by death by 1,000 paper cuts. Sometimes you keep dropping water on the concrete instead of trying to knock him out early. But I'll give Jermall credit because Jermall was so physically imposing and he was so big and he was so strong is where it made Julian want to knock him out. So you got to give Jermall credit for that because he was imposing himself. Even though I thought Julian was outpointing him and landing more shots, he was still imposing. You know what I mean? It's like pushing a car up the hill and you on the back of the car and it's downhill. You know what I mean? So, you know, Julian just going to have to grow up. And when I say grow up, you know, in the boxing ring, he's going to have to mature because if he settled down and, you know, and not shoot that shot, you know, now we're talking about the champion of the world. But instead, you know, we got to go to the middle of the line. You know, when you can win rounds like that and touch a guy like that as early as we was touching him and be able to outpoint him, even with the knockdown, I thought he won 3 out of the first 4 rounds. You know, you shouldn't. That's just not a shot that a kid at this level, you know, as good as he fought, you know, I'm disappointed that he threw that shot because we worked on that. When I say we worked on it, you know, one day you guys may get the opportunity to interview him and you stick a microphone in his face and he'll tell you the truth. And we worked on it. And we talked about Jermall hitting him with an uppercut. We kept talking about it. And I said, you can only be hit with an uppercut if 2 things happen. 1 is on the inside if you square it up. And 2, if you're on the outside, if you overshoot a punch. Other than that, you can't be hit with an uppercut. It has to be a punch that you create an opportunity for.
Absolutely.
You know, so
that's
it's the name of the game, man.
Pretty much everything you said is exactly what I had predicted. You know, I was the lone wolf. You know, I had Jermall in this fight. And I can't remember if I told you that or not on the podcast, but one of the biggest things that I was stressing was we haven't seen Julian Williams box to the degree that he would have needed to box to be able to beat a guy who has the alpha male mentality such as Jermall Charlo in the ring. And I remember you saying something like, well, there's things that Julian doesn't do in the ring because I don't let him do that. I haven't fully unleashed his skill set, so to speak. That was one of the things that you said in response to that. So one of the things that I want to ask is, after this fight, because you said yourself that Julian said that he wanted to knock him out early. Now, if I would have heard that, I'd have been like, hell nah. That's exactly what you don't want to do. Because in this, the biggest thing with me was in this matchup, the alpha male matchup was going to go to Jermall Charlo, in my opinion. So I needed J-Rock to box the shit out of this dude, box circles around him. And the rounds that he won, he did it beautifully. He did it effectively. He kept his back off the ropes, and he kept the fight in the middle of the ring, and he kept the jab in his face. When he lost, when he got hurt, is because he stayed in the pocket too fucking long. And it was killing me, especially with that, like you said, he overshot that right hand. He overshot it and stayed there. He didn't move. So he was in prime distance for the counter uppercut, man. And there was kind of a shot that I seen this shit coming. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? You know what you're looking at, because one thing that I'm never ever gonna do is argue with the truth. Only a fool argues with the truth.
Word.
And you know, you're right. You know, and I don't know if y'all can hear the audio in the corner, but we was telling him, don't over. He hit. I counted it. He probably hit Jermall with like 30 right hands and 4.5 rounds. That's a lot. He kept hitting him with the top. You look at Jermall wasn't cut after the fight, but his face was beat up because he kept getting hit with a counter right hand and the lead right hand, and it got good to him. But what he was doing was he wasn't showing no signs of effect or discouragement for him. Yep. And with Julian, it's just, as painful it is for me to say it, Jermall was just, he wasn't more skilled, but he was more mature.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? He was more mature, and it kills me, man, but it's just the truth. If Julian don't like hearing that, he could fire me. But Jermall was the more mature fighter because you could see that if it was just a boxing match full of skills, who was the more fluid, skillful athlete. And it's a shame because he's probably never going to chance to get to fight him again. Jermall, people could say what they want, but you know what you in the ring with, and you know what was happening. Every fighter know another fighter. Word. There's a reason why the fight took so long to get made. I don't want to get into all of that. And there was a reason why that, he acted the way he acted after the fight went happen. He was relieved that it was over because you know what I'm saying? When you in a fight like that, man, and you escape off of, and it wasn't luck. That was pure 100% skill and taking advantage of opportunity. But when you capitalize off an opportunistic moment, you know how good somebody is. You could feel it. Another man knows that. I don't know how many fist fights y'all guys ever been in or physical confrontations, but when you thumping with a joker that if you thumping with him tomorrow, it may not go your way. And when you in there with a guy that, man, look, that was easy work. I take his lunch money every day. Is a feeling that you get when you're in physical combat. And that's one of the reasons why he had that emotional, it was almost like it was an overwhelming emotional, experience for him because he knew what he was in there with, and it's just the same, but he was just more mature, I said, Julian just got to grow up. I would keep saying to him over and over again. I'm gonna tell y'all something. I haven't even shared this with nobody in the press. Do y'all have the fight on tape?
Yes, I do.
Okay. I want you to look at the fight real good. Both of y'all, I want y'all to look at the fight together. Julian had on reddish gray camouflage trunks.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He had on some fucking gray and blue cross-training Nike shoes.
Yep.
That he borrowed at the last minute. Watch that fight. I told that boy 1,000 times to get some Mizuno shoes because we were working on speed for this fight. Word. I said, this is going to be a fight of speed. It's a matter of inches. I said, because see, one thing I knew, Jermall is not as tall as Julian as people thought. His hair and his face is long, but shoulder to shoulder, they was only about an inch apart. I said, Jermall's arms are not longer than Julian's, and I'd rather have length than height. All you got to do is watch them two jab. So I said, man, this is going to be a speed fight, speed fight. Everybody think you got this crazy height disadvantage. You don't, but your arms are even. His shoulders is only about an inch taller than yours, but you have to have speed. He had on these big, stupid shoes that he borrowed. And I want y'all to look at his shoes real good because I don't make no excuses, but it's maturity, man. He had on these big shoes that he borrowed. You don't wear those shoes for boxing. You wear those shoes for cross-training when you're training and doing all this fitness stuff with these tires and ropes in the gym. You don't use them shoes for boxing. Kind of shoes that Jermall had on? The Mizuno shoes. Watch the fight closely. Jermall had on some black and white, really, really sleek, light-footed shoes. Word. Julian had on some Nike cross-training shoes that got a sneaker sole. So why do you think they make boxing shoes with the thin, slick sole? Right. So they don't get caught in the canvas. So when my kid goes to shoot his right hand, his back foot doesn't even move. He get caught in the canvas. He gets stuck and get clipped with an uppercut. Damn. You know what that comes down to? It comes down to maturity. Word. That's what it comes down to. There wasn't luck. you know, it comes down to one kid being more mature and understanding, and another kid being hard-headed, man, and blowing up the biggest opportunity of his life. If y'all think that I'm lying and making an excuse, because I'm not. Jermall deserved the whole victory. You watch it. The shoes didn't even match his damn outfit. I'm sitting there like, how could you wear these shoes in an opportunity like this?
Did he give a?
And it just come from a lack of maturity.
Did he give a response to that? Did he say why he wore those shoes?
You know what? Here go the thing. We was leaving for California, LA, Tuesday.
Word.
Our last day at the gym, I got an amateur kid in there, and we working out. We shaking off a couple of pounds, just going over the game plan.
Word.
Mm-hmm.
Julian says to the kid, yo, man, let me wear them shoes. Let me see how they feel. Me and assistant coach look at each other like, what? Is he crazy? Man, y'all guys got to understand, as a head trainer, you in a terrible position, because what you don't ever want to do is start trying to lower a fighter's self-esteem, telling them if they don't do certain things, they're going to lose.
Good point.
So I said to him, yo, man, why didn't you just order the Mizunos? Got a stupid look on his face. Now, I'm going to tell you something, man. Some of a fighter's traits that make him good also harm him. He's ornery. He's stubborn. He's arrogant. That's what made him get up from that uppercut. You very rarely in the history of boxing, you don't see a fighter fall face first and get up.
No.
You gotta have a different kind of willpower. Usually because when you fall, somebody couldn't pay you to fall face first and not put your hands out. You don't usually be able to fall face first and get up. He fell face first with a shot that he never saw. Usually that's it. The fight is over. But the irony and the willpower, it makes him get up. But that's the same goddamn thing that made him not buy those Mizunos. Because sometimes, man, you just do things just being bullheaded. Sometimes, y'all know back in the day, I could tell y'all young men, your mom tell you to do something, man, you just do it your way. Or coach tell you to do something, you just feel like doing it your way, man. But it came back to biting, man, because now he got a knockout on World Star because he wanted to do things his way. And it was a simple thing I asked him, man. I said, there's a certain kind of shoes you're going to need for this fight. And, man, God put things in your face for a reason. It ain't no coincidence that Jermall wore the same kind of shoes that I begged him to get 6 months prior. When he won the fight for the mandatory, I told him, order those shoes because they're coming from Japan and it's going to take a while to get here.
Yeah.
Damn.
You know what I mean? But when y'all watch the fight, y'all check him out. It didn't even match his outfit. They was too big. The kid that he borrowed them from was 6'3".
Damn.
It was a 6'3" kid that won the Pennsylvania Golden Gloves at 178 pounds. So you gotta imagine you don't have the same build that Julian got. They didn't even conform to his feet.
Yeah. Interesting.
Man, you know, as a coach, you talk about a guy that was brokenhearted. Man.
Oh yeah.
Man, I could barely hug my wife, bro. After that fight. I'm dead serious, man. And I had to go on vacation with my kids for 4 days right after the fight, man. And I was going through the motions, man. We went to Disney World. We had a great time. But it was hurtful, man. I don't want to lose a game of checkers.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel you.
Yep.
You know, I don't want to lose no game of checkers, man. I definitely don't want to lose the championship of the world, man. You know, and I don't have nothing personal against Jermall or nobody on this team, you know, but you don't want to lose.
Yeah, word. That's real. But yo, Brad, man, when you seen the first knockdown, okay, and I think the first knockdown came from a hard, stiff jab that Jermall caught Julian with. At that point, what was going through your head? Like, what were you thinking, or, you know?
That's a good question. I saw Jermall knock 2 guys down with jabs before, Wookie Canford and K9.
Yep.
And I know that he jabs with you. You know, he got a real interesting jab. He got real good timing on it. But he throws that jab at a certain time. And, you know, we were prepared for that. You know, it's just sometimes guys just have a move that is just hard to stop. You know, and it's just that simple. He just had a move. He got a move that's hard to stop. You know, and I knew Julian was fine though. that wasn't no big deal. Again, you know, it's a little bit of a disservice to him that the fight is not always on YouTube because people only remember the last result and they don't remember the sequence of events leading up to the last result. If y'all see, Julian got up and started cracking Jermall.
Yes,
immediately.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Jermall tried to step to him. He opened up. He was okay. Now his legs was a little bit wobbly, but that's because he jumped up too fast. He was trying to show to everybody that he wasn't hurt. And if you get out of bed in the morning time, too fast off the bed, you're gonna wobble a little bit because the blood not flowing to your legs.
Word.
You know, so that was just a case of that. I just was just like, you know, when he got knocked out, I said, damn, what is that? So that was funny. You know, the angle that you guys are watching is not the same angle that I'm watching. So
word.
I'm sorry, y'all.
It's all good.
I was talking to my son. So I was cool. I was cool with that. You know what I mean? When he knocked him down, I was like, oh shit. That's just what I said to the guys in the corner. I'm like, damn, what was that? And then when one thing I know about Julian is he gonna rumble. You know what I mean? I know y'all haven't seen that side of him before because he hasn't had, you know, a lot of adversity in the boxing ring. But again, if you notice in that round, when Jermall stepped to him, you know, he opened up and got him off of him. I think he hit, a matter of fact, he hit him with a left hook, and then Jermall tried to push him on the ropes. He came off the ropes with a straight right hand, pow, right down the middle. And it kind of like buzzed Jermall a little bit. So I knew he was cool. You know what I'm saying? I've seen him get cracked in the gym by big guys, and, you know, he's game like that. I knew he was cool. Actually, you know, that was another piece of our game plan was to not what I don't know which one of you guys just said it, but you said you noticed that Julian got stuck when he shot that right hand and got caught. One of our pieces of our game plan was to get all the way close on Jermall. Because even though Jermall is big and strong, he's really not what you call an infighter. You feel what I'm saying?
No,
he's really not the kind of guy like he's going to be like James Toney and infight. He can throw an uppercut and throw a hook, but he's not laying in there working, doing slick moves in there. So one of the things we wanted to do is
he need mid-range distance.
Excuse me?
He need mid-range distance.
Yeah, like what I'm talking about was get all the way in on him and kind of smother his power because his better punches, even though he could do him with an uppercut, his better punches is usually a jab and a long straight right hand where he gets to get extension on it.
Right.
So as the fight settled in, it's hard to do that with a big, strong guy early. But as the fight settled in, one of the things we was going to do was kind of get in his chest a little bit. But because if you notice, after Julian knocked him down, they started trading, and Julian got into him a little bit and started hitting him with little body shots. I don't know if y'all picked that up, but he started hitting him with an uppercut to the navel and a left hook to the body. But, you know, in the fight, everything's not going to happen in the first couple of rounds. It got to kind of like happen organically as the natural course of the fight takes its place.
Absolutely.
But again, we wasn't able to implement our entire game plan because kid got clipped. So that's how it go, man.
That's what's up. Okay, my next question is it's more for you, Breadman, because I know, you know, as a team, you and Julian up until this point hadn't ever tasted defeat in the ring, you know, anything like that. And Julian was really impressing a lot of fans and in the boxing world in general was just really talking about him. And I remember I kept hearing his name and I was like, man, let me check this cat out, you know. But I definitely became an even bigger fan in a loss, you know, surprisingly, you know what I mean? Because I gained so much respect for Julian and his abilities because he was in there with an elite fighter. But a lot of people always look at the fighter and how they're going to take a loss, but I don't think too many people focus on the trainer's perspective on taking, especially their first loss with a kid that's been real successful. I mean, can you kind of speak on that? Just you mentioned it earlier, but could you go a little more into that, man, of just how, you know, the whole mentality behind, you know, your fighter suffering his first loss and And you kind of have to bottle that in because you can't really show that to your fighter. You know what I'm saying? Or
I can tell, man. When either one of y'all got some good interview questions, or you went to school for actual interview, because most of these guys in the media, they just don't know what they're doing,
Brett,
man. It's really frustrating.
Let me
you
tell
guys
you,
are pretty good, man.
Let me tell you right now, Brett. I appreciate that. We ain't go to no motherfucking school for this. This just two cats that used to be in the ring.
I'm gonna tell you, man. I'm gonna be straight up with you. A lot of people in the media turn me off after the fight, not because I'm a poor sport, because like I said, when y'all ask me for an interview, if you look at the coverage after the fight, me and Julian walked in the press conference, bro. Dudes don't go to the press conference after they lose.
That's true.
We walked to the press conference, and I told them, you got to go to the press conference, because if we would have won, we'd be in there fucking smiling and jumping around, going out buying Porsches next week. That's what the fuck we would be doing. So now that we lost, we got to go in there, because you don't cry the blues when you lose. You grin when you win.
Absolutely.
You're going to go to the press conference. If they want to talk shit and H-Town in the house, all that, you shouldn't have got hit with the shot, period. And we went in the press conference like men and kept our head up. It ain't going to be hard for me to train him. It's not, because I'm built for adversity.
Yes, sir.
It's going to be up to him, because the thing that I'm going to let him know is that for as good as he fought, he did not win. The media and everybody turns on you. I hope everybody turn on him. I'm going to be honest with you, because that's going to give him more motivation to let him know where he at. Some people said some bad stuff about him. I seen the dude in the media walk up to Jermall Charlo, and I was cool with this dude. I ain't mad at him. I just know he don't know shit about boxing. He walked up to Jermall Charlo and said, "Oh, man, you won every round. The fight wasn't even competitive. Do you feel like you need to fight fights like this?" And that's the kind of stuff that you got to go through in the media, because they get infatuated over the ending result. And anybody that think that Jermall won every round had a pre-existing mindset going into that fight. They was not planning on giving Julian no credit, because Jermall ain't win every round. You can listen to the audio of his coaches and his brother and them sitting there ringside, and that'll let you know who was winning that fight. Nevertheless, it ain't hard for me. It's going to be difficult for Julian. You know what? Let me take that back. Let me rephrase that. I don't know if it's going to be difficult for Julian, but it's not going to be hard for me. It's really not. He's going to have to grow up. You know, the definition of insanity is keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. You know, the next time I tell him he's going to have to get some Mizuno shoes on what kind of fight we're going to fight, he's going to have to get them. You know what I mean? A lot of little things that we're going to have to do. You know, like I said, I never once made a public excuse ever about this fight. And I never will. You see guys make up things after fights and start saying, well, this could happen, that could happen. No, man, my kid was immature, and his immaturity caused us to lose this fight. That's what happened. As a team, I'm saying us. I'm going to have to instead of telling him to get Mizuno shoes next time, fellas, if he don't get them, I'm not training him. That's how it got to be.
That's what's up.
You know what I'm saying? That's how serious I am, because somebody might think that that's small, but it's not small.
It's not small.
I had a fighter.
No, sir.
I had a fighter who once used to wear a mouthpiece that covered his bottom and his top teeth, and the mouthpiece only had maybe a half a centimeter hole in the middle for him to breathe. And I kept telling that kid, bro, you cannot fight with this mouthpiece. It's obstructing your breathing, because you don't know how to breathe through your nose well enough, and you're running out of gas too much. Man, I'm not going to mention this fighter. He lost about 3-4 fights in a row, and every fight after the third round, he was gassed.
Interesting.
And I wasn't training this kid. I was just advising him. He knew that I was pretty good at picking fights. I wasn't training him. I just was advising him. Yo, I knew that I couldn't work with this kid no more. So I'm talking about 3 rounds, fellas, and you're talking about a dude with about 30 pro fights. Because of his mouthpiece. You know what I mean? Everything counts. You know, when it comes down to a big boxing, because there's not a lot to separate Julian and Jermall. It's not a lot. It's a game of inches. It's not a lot that separates them two kids. So it's not going to be hard for me. It's just the next time I tell him to get these Mizunos and he don't get them, I'm not training. I'm walking out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I can't go through that no more because I care about them, man. And more importantly, I'm competitive. This is my brand. I'm a young trainer. I'm 40 years old. I want to produce world champions. I don't want a kid to get to the point and lose. I'm not striving to be a silver medalist. I want to be a gold medalist. I don't want to be the challenger. I want to be a champion. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be hard for him to be able to deal with it because the little things count. And we lost that fight on little oversights. That's what we lost that fight on, man. Little teeny oversights of immaturity and complacent behavior, and that's what we lost the fight on.
Yeah.
You know, listen, I'm still upset with him. You know, let me tell y'all something, man. A lot of trainers out here, this they sole income. So they got to kiss ass. They're not allowed to yell at the fighter or tell a fighter what to do. Bro, let me tell you something. I don't got to kiss nobody ass, man. I don't have to kiss. I got 5 buildings that I get rent from every month. My wife go to work every day. We ain't millionaires, but we good.
Word.
You understand what I'm saying? My kids go to a good school. I don't got to kiss no fighters' asses.
Yeah.
My money from boxing, bro, that's a vacation and stacking money. I don't need that to live off of. And plus, I got a couple of kids that's coming behind him that could fight their ass off. I got a kid named Karan Davis. That's the real deal. I don't got to kiss no fighter's ass. I'm not sugarcoating nothing with no fighter. Either you going to believe in me or because a lot of times you see when a guy lose, what they do, they change trainers. Well, guess what?
Yeah.
You know what Julian came to my room and said? He said, I'm sorry. He knew he screwed up. We had a game plan, bro, and let me tell you something else. I would never make no excuses. We was in shape, brother. When I say shape, I don't know how athletic you guys are, but that kid was in critical shape.
Right.
Damn.
He was running his miles in 5 minutes and some. I don't know if y'all know how fast that is for a fighter, but that's flying for a fighter.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Damn.
we
flying.
We do bodybuilding over here, so
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. That motherfucker was in shape. You hear what I'm telling y'all?
Yeah.
His 400 times, Showtime cameras will confirm it. 64 seconds.
Damn.
Yeah, he was in fucking shape. We wasn't in no. We ain't had no injuries. Nope.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that to Jermall and Ronnie because that's bullshit. We didn't have no injuries. We was not out of shape. Now it sucked that we had to wait. You know.
Yeah.
It sucked that we had to wait. That wasn't fair to Julian. He was the #1 contender. That was not right. But we was in the best shape of our lives. I'm not gonna lie and say he wasn't in shape. He wasn't right. No, that's not true. We had no injuries. He was in the best shape of his life. But they did screw him over with making the boy wait 40 weeks and not fight. But he was still sharp.
Yeah, that's what was so
He
surprising.
was still sharp.
And that,
you know what?
Uh-huh.
It was hurtful. You know, I'm gonna tell you. I think it was a lot of things. I don't believe that it was no LASIK surgery because I had it. You know, I don't. You know, I think that. You know, I think that somebody probably wanted us to overtrain a little bit, which is an old trick in boxing. Yep. You know, they young, they eager. Let them overtrain a little bit and get a little bit stale.
Yep.
Because we didn't even know that Jermall was postponing the fight. You know, that still don't sit well with me, but it's boxing and it's warfare and it's the art of skullduggery, and you do what you do to get your advantages. So I get it and I understand it. Nevertheless, the #1 contender shouldn't have had to wait 10 months without knowing that the fight was postponed. That was the part that was fucked up, that we didn't know the fight was postponed. It's one thing to postpone a fight. It's something different not to tell the fighter that the fight is postponed. So that's where we got screwed at. You know, it was things that we wanted. We wanted, you know, I wanted some drug testing and things like that. That never really came through. But that's boxing. If you're not the A side, you can't get it. You know, that's how it is. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, I don't got no excuses. I'm definitely not accusing nobody of anything. But that kind of bothered me a little bit. You know, we couldn't get no testing and The damn fight was being postponed. We didn't even know the fight was being postponed until somebody did an interview and interviewed the dude from the IBF. And then I had to call the IBF. You know, so but Jermall is the champion. He got a veteran team. And it was actually a good thing because let me tell you what that did. It made Julian even more anxious. That's why he threw that right hand from across the street. You know what I'm saying? Seriously, little things like that that's why just imagine, Julian hadn't fought since March. The dude he fought in March wasn't no work. Before that, was 6 months before that. What did he do? He knocked out Luciano Coelho in the first round. So he was anxious. He wanted to be in the ring with a fighter. We thought we was fighting in 90 days after the May 21st fight. So that's what we start preparing for. We start rolling. We start getting ready. After Jermall fought Austin Trout, we was like, all right, boom, 90 days, and we bumping because they had to get an exemption to fight Trout. But they were screwing us over with the times and dates with the with Jermall's LASIK surgery. But it was smart. It made Julian anxious. It made him aggravated. It made him feel slighted, and he was. But you got to channel that emotion in a different kind of way. He was screwed. Don't get it twisted. You should never. A mandatory contender should never have to wait 40 weeks to fight.
No doubt.
He's a 26-year-old kid. You know what I'm saying? The more you do something, the better you get at it. It's just as simple as that. The more you do anything, the better you get at it. So the fact that he had to wait around, it sucked. But that's not an excuse because he was still sharp. He wasn't a stale fighter when he was in the ring. You know, his timing was on and he was ready. But he was anxious. He was very, very anxious. He was very, very eager, and he wanted to hurt Jermall. He did. He wanted to physically hurt him, and it came back to bite us. It's real interesting that you mentioned that point about about the drug testing, and I know you don't want to not accusing nobody of nothing, but I remember watching the post-fight press conference, and somebody from the media asked Richard Schaefer a question about drug testing. It was the elephant in the room. It was the elephant in the room, bro. I ain't gonna hide from it. It was the elephant in the room. I'm gonna always keep it real with y'all. I would never accuse a fighter of doing anything without, and I see y'all from Houston, and that's cool, because anything I could say in the dark, I could say in the light.
We in Dallas.
I would never accuse a fighter of doing anything. Okay? I don't accuse no fighters of doing nothing, right? It was unfair to Jermall and Julian that there was a lack of drug testing. Not just Julian, not just my fighter. Both kids. Jermall don't know what we do, and we don't know what he do. I'm going to tell y'all how much drug testing was done in that fight, and I don't care if this goes viral. Julian gave one sample of urine an hour before the fight. That's it. Nothing after.
No.
And that is the truth. Nobody hasn't asked me. You guys are the first people to ask me. That's the honest to God truth. If you don't believe me, contact the commission. That's it. Get Jermall on the show and ask him. Now listen, it ain't up to the fighters. You know, that's not enough for this level of boxing.
No,
guys are doing too many slick things. But when you don't know when you're gonna fight, right? You're not the champion. What can you control with that? The only thing we could do is sign up for VADA, be in a random testing program, because if I don't know nothing else, I know I got a clean fighter. I can't make this kid take shit. You know, so, I mean, I'm talking about legal shit. I can't make him take nothing. But that wasn't fair to either fighter, not just Julian. It wasn't fair to Jermall, because Jermall don't know what we going to do and what steps we going to take to win that fight. You know what I'm saying? People get desperate and they cheat. Deontay Wilder caught 2 fighters in a row.
Yes, sir.
It wasn't fair to either guy. It was the elephant in the room. I saw some of the comments. Y'all got all kinds of shit in my inbox about what we should have did and what things look like. But guess what? Jermall got a right to get better. He got a right to rehydrate. You can't speculate. You got to test people. Can't speculate and say, man, he looked like this, so he looked like that. You got to test people. Shit, when Julian knocked out Luciano Coelho in 1 round, and Canelo took 6 rounds to do it, and Chavez Jr. couldn't do it at all, people could have said he was on something. That's why when guys get in the top 10, everybody needs to be getting tested, bro, because these fucking kids is cheating. It's just as simple as that. They cheating.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I really believe 70% of the top fighters is cheating. I watch some dudes. I just keep my mouth shut. Yeah. Y'all be surprised at some of this shit you'll see, man. You'll be surprised if you keep your ear to the concrete and you go to these dudes' gyms, man. The kind of guys that you see hanging around, man. It was unfortunate. And when the dude asked that question, then you heard all the whispers and people start passing notes and people start whispering and doing this and that. It was, again, man, it was a disservice to both fighters that it wasn't no extra drug testing in that fight. You can't take 1 urine an hour before the fight in a fight of that caliber.
That ain't shit.
Come on, you can get somebody killed in the boxing ring, man.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It's just not enough. We didn't take nothing after. You know, just one before. Everybody know when you find out where the fight is, you start testing the kids. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It was unfortunate. It really was, man. But you know, that's the game. Until you the A side, and until you like a cold shot caller, then you got to go through stuff like that.
Yeah. It's real interesting, man. That you mentioned.
Y'all the first people to get that. Y'all the first people that literally got that, man. Because you know what's funny, and this is why I complimented y'all on y'all interviewing skills. Most of these writers are scared to even ask certain questions because they know they're not going to get credentials or not going to be able to interview certain people no more.
They do.
I just sit back and I watch them. You got guys that have failed drug tests, that have lied about drug tests, that done everything under the sun, and they won't even ask a dude a pertinent question in the interview because they know that they won't be able to get those interviews or won't be able to get credentials with certain people anymore. You know what I'm saying? That's why I give y'all guys y'all props for asking a tough question like that, man. Because I'm transparent. I don't gotta lie about nothing. When that dude asked that question, everybody got quiet, bro. If y'all was there live, y'all would have been like, wow. Everybody got quiet. Nobody didn't want to touch that. Michael Montero was his name.
Okay. You can sense that in the press conference. It was almost like people were sitting back saying to themselves, "Why did he ask that?" or "What is he talking about?" You know what I'm saying?
You know what I got? I got damn. He had the balls to really ask that. Because listen, I you know what I had to talk about that off the record. Because see, as a coach, you don't want to make those excuses. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just telling you what it was. We got tested by one sample of urine an hour before the fight. That's it. Now, if you consider that drug testing, well, technically it is, that's the extent of the drug testing for a world championship fight between two of the better kids in the division, in their prime, undefeated, a fight of that kind of stake. That's what we got. That's how much we got tested.
Golly, man. That's crazy.
Ain't that pretty fucked up?
Yeah, that's fucked up.
Nobody knows that. Listen, not one interviewer has asked me that. That dude is the only person that had the courage to ask that in that scenario. Everybody else will beat around it, like I said, off the record, and make their own little comments about certain things and their own little observations, but nobody got the heart to ask that on the record.
Yeah. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Damn, man. I got just a couple more questions for you, Brad, man. So after the fight, man, I noticed, everybody seen that Julian took his L like a man. You know what I'm saying? He was sitting on the stool, and he jumped up and he walked over to shake Jermall's hand. And we all know what happened after that or whatever. What was your initial response to seeing that? Like, not even going
my
back
initial response was sit your ass down and wait for the doctor to come. He jumped up so damn fast to go shake the kid's hand. He didn't even get a chance to get fully examined. That was my initial response. Like, come here. It's like, I don't know if they thought, what he was. I mean, he was walking over in peace to shake his hand. It's pretty obvious, but I knew once they start acting like they was acting, you know, I just contributed just to lack of class, man. You know, I was just like, you know, all right, whatever. You know, like I said, man, I'm 40, man. I've been through a lot in my life. Had a lot of ups and downs. That kind of little stuff don't bother me. You know, I even said at the press conference, I thought Ronnie Shields was a Hall of Fame coach. Jermall is a good fighter. And it was unfortunate, man. You see a talented kid like that soil his own big moment and have to explain his lack of humility in class after the fight. That's something that Jermall has to answer for. I really don't care if he's a poor sport. You know what I told Julian? I said, if you would have knocked him out, it wouldn't be a big deal.
Exactly.
You don't have to shake your hand.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm hard on my fighters. I said, if you would have knocked his ass out, we wouldn't have to go through that of him telling you to get the F away or whatever he did and all that kind of stuff. You know, so it don't really bother me like that, man. I'm actually glad that Jermall did that, because let me tell you something, man. Life circles the block, bro. One day he may be in that situation and somebody tell him to get the fuck away. Yep. Life got a way of coming back on you, man, at the most inopportune times, you know. Absolutely. There was some comments that I don't like that the entourage made, you know, because they made it seem like that Julian was disrespecting him, and he wasn't. If he was, I would be the first to admit it. He wasn't. The only thing the boy called Jermall was a turkey. He had to get the fight, fellas. He was not going to get this opportunity. So he had to kind of, oh, man, come on, turkey, let's fight. That's the best y'all can come up with. He wasn't disrespecting that dude, man. Fighters say all kinds of terrible things about each other, man. What's the big deal about calling somebody a turkey because you won a title shot? Yeah. First of all, he didn't get a voluntary opportunity. He had a mandatory opportunity that he had to wait an inordinate amount of time to fight. So what he said, turkey, man, what's going on? Let's fight. That's all he did to the man. It wasn't no disrespect. He wasn't walking around saying anything personal about the guy or disrespecting his family or bumping into him or anything like that. Believe it or not, Julian and Jermall was cool, man. I remember the twins gave Julian a ride when we was in San Antonio. We needed a ride when he fought on the card in San Antonio. That stuff was things that was brought out because they needed an excuse to act the way they act. So you can't, it's like your girl cheating on you, saying, oh, man, he treat me really, really good, man. I'm just nasty. I just like screwing different men. No one want me to say that. You know what she say? Man, you don't spend no time with me, and you be doing all kinds of shit, and that's the reason why I started seeing another guy. That was one of those kind of things, man. Julian didn't do nothing to that boy except want to fight him. That's it. I'm keeping it real. His emotions just got the better of him because he was offended that this kid wanted to fight him. They wasn't that cool where they couldn't fight. And his emotion got the better of him. He was relieved after the fight happened, and he flipped. You know what I'm saying? He flipped out. That's all it was. It wasn't no, man, you was disrespecting me. Don't say it's boxing. Fighters are going to call other fighters out. It happens. You shake hands afterwards. You know, if Lennox Lewis and Mike Tyson could shake hands after they fight, come on, man. Y'all know what's up with that. Again, people that interview the kid, they let him off the hook with that and make it seem like that Julian was stalking him. Julian called him a turkey one time. That's it. And he wanted the opportunity for a title shot. If he wouldn't have did that, look what they doing to fucking Earl Spence. Yeah. He might need to call Kell Brook a turkey. Shit, look what they doing to him.
He gonna have to go to
understand what I'm saying? Some guys don't get opportunities like that.
Yeah, he gonna have to do something very disrespectful to anybody. Them motherfuckers
you
don't
got
want
it.
to fight him.
Julian wasn't getting opportunities. I told Jermall after the fight, I said, man, you was getting opportunities laid in your lap. We wasn't getting opportunities. So we had to say, well, the kid had to get on TV and call you out. It was good for business. Both of y'all made more money than y'all ever made before by him calling you out and calling you a turkey. Word. So what's the big fucking deal, man? Come on, man. Word. Y'all know what's up with that. Again, people let that kid off the hook. You know what I mean? For poor sportsmanship. And I don't really care about for real. It actually aggravates me to even have to answer that question because it really ain't no big deal. What's a bigger deal was the entourage getting involved in it because Julian's dad was there. Julian's dad like 60 years old. It was dudes cussing and saying disrespectful stuff to his dad and grabbing waistbands. That shit was corny. It was just unnecessary. It was a lack of class. You shouldn't see a 20-something-year-old kid arguing and disrespecting a 60-something-year-old man. That's a little bit too much, especially when we all in the same hotel for 5 days and there was not one incident, no cursing, no pushing, nothing happened whatsoever. We was all on the same elevator several times. Nothing ever happened. And I wouldn't lie, we all ate at the same Morton Steakhouse, a table away from each other after the weigh-in. There was no signs of incidents. They had to do radio interviews. We all sat in the same lobby. That excuse about the disrespect was like I said, it was the same as if you catch a woman cheating, she's never going to say, I just like screwing different men. She's going to make up all these different these different excuses on why she did what they did. And that's the exact dynamic of why they acted the way that they just wanted to. He just felt like saying, that his emotion got the better of him. That's it. And you know what? If you ask Jermall, he would tell y'all the truth if he's being real with himself. Because after the fight, he apologized. If he didn't do nothing wrong, then why would you apologize? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? If he didn't do anything wrong, and with Julian calling him a turkey and asking to fight, because there's one thing, the devil is in detail. So it's easy for somebody to say, yo, dude was disrespecting me. No, tell me what he did to disrespect you.
Right.
Tell me what he did to disrespect you. It's easy to say, oh, yeah, this person, to use a broad term, what did he do to disrespect you? Call you a turkey? Enforce his mandatory? Call the IBF and ask them to enforce his mandatory and ask for his shot? To say, no, I don't want no step-aside money. No, I don't want you fighting Austin Trout. I want to fight. That's all the kid did was ask for his opportunity to fight because he could not get a big fight. Yeah, so that's what he did to disrespect you? When somebody asks him, Jermall's a good fighter, but I think I'm better. Is that disrespect? So you can use the word disrespect all you want. Julian didn't disrespect Jermall. Yeah. If he did, like I said, I would tell y'all. I would say, you know what? My kid went a little bit over the board. He went a little over the line. He brought up some personal things about Jermall, which is a no-no. Whatever the case may be. I'm telling y'all, man. And turkey is a light word. I don't know. I know Dallas ain't Philly, man, but goddamn, I wish the worst thing I ever was called was a turkey, man. Yeah, my goodness.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I didn't think. I just said, man, you know what? These are just young kids, just acting crazy. I just told Julian, man, just come over here. We got in the dressing room. I said, and then you see, it's easy to go and do that kind of shit when you win. You shouldn't have got caught with that. And it didn't bother him either, to be honest with you. It really didn't bother him. He shook Jermall's hand after the fight. And that was, like I said, it's one thing for Jermall to have the excuse to be wound up after the fight and his emotions got the better of him. But his team and all the members of his team, they weren't fighting. They didn't have to be cursing at Julian's dad and saying that kind of stuff. That's the point where it got a little, when the California State Athletic Commission got to start giving guys fines, that's a little too much. You know what I mean? Yeah, so damn. That's just that, man.
Mm-hmm. And man, my last, my bad. Go ahead, Breadman.
No, go ahead. I'm good.
Oh,
I'm about to get into How to Get Away with Murder, man. That's my show, man. It come on 10 o'clock.
All right. Let me get your take on this real quick, Breadman. You from Philly. I'm from New York. So I know you had to be feeling some type of way, man, when Bernard got knocked out by Joe Smith. I believe it was about a month ago or somewhere around there.
Actually, bro, this is the truth. It was a day we saw Bernard at LA Live in LA. We was like, it was the night before the weigh-in. Bernard was out there eating, and we were walking off a couple of, just taking a little walk because Julian had like a pound to go. So we saw him that night, and we've been in the Julian Bernard has sparred before, so they real cool.
Oh, that's what's up.
We saw Bernard, and Bernard was telling them little things. Bernard's real talkative, whatever, and we his little crew, his strength trainer Danny Davis, that's my man. He actually taught me how to wrap hands. So we saw him the Friday before our fight. But honestly, guys, this is the honest to goodness truth. I was in Disney World with my family. I didn't get a chance to see the fight. I didn't see the fight till I got home. You know, I was a little shocked that Bernard got stopped because he's so hard to stop.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard because he fights in a certain kind of way where he just don't let you stop him. But you know, it's like how can I put this, man, without it's like having like a family member that's like 90 years old. It's not they not going when they die, right? You gonna miss them, but it's not the same as you get called up and your 25-year-old cousin get killed in a car crash. You feel what I'm saying? There's a different dynamic to that.
I see what you're saying.
That's the best way I could put that, man, in a real respectful way. He's 51. If you keep fighting at that age, you're eventually, you know what I mean? That's just the way the human body works. You're not going, you know what I mean? Eventually it's going to happen. So was I a little surprised that he got stopped? Yes, but I wasn't like, oh my God, like, I can't believe that happened. You know what I mean? Like when Tarver knocked Roy Jones out, I was like, God damn.
Yeah.
You got it. When Pacquiao got hit by that Marquez right hand, I was like, whoa, what the hell just happened?
Hell yeah.
Listen, I never seen Julian hurt before. In 87 amateur fights, 20-something pro fights, when he got hit, dog almost had a heart attack, bro.
Yeah.
So it's a little different. You know what I'm saying? With Bernard, he's 51. Joe Smith could punch. So I'm just like, damn, man, that's messed up, man. You know, hopefully he's okay. But I wasn't like, you know, tore to pieces and jumping off of a bridge because at that age, anything can happen in boxing.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
Yep. Well, man, I definitely appreciate your time, Brad, man. You know, you've been very candid, man, and we definitely appreciate that on the show, man.
All right.
Yes, man. Anytime, fellas.
Before I let you go, man, there's one thing I want to say. You don't have to respond to this if you don't want to, but one thing that you did say on the podcast, man, and I gave you and J-Rock y'all's props, man. I talked a lot about ducking in boxing, you know, cats being afraid, you know, to take fights, and you were in agreement with that point. And I had said that win or lose, you and J-Rock have gained my respect because y'all have went out there and tried to fight the best that y'all could fight. You know what I'm saying? And you had said if J-Rock loses, this is exactly how you put it. You said if he bumps his head and loses, then he's just going to get up and he's going to try to get the next big fight. He's going to look for the next best thing. Ain't no going back ducking. Ain't no going back crying and shit, trying to hide behind, you know, bums or all these whack-ass fighters that we already know J-Rock can knock out with one fucking punch. We getting back on the horse, and we're going to try to get back into the game. You feel me? So I applaud y'all with that because there's a lot of motherfuckers out there like Carl Frampton, for example. I know he's fighting Leo Santa Cruz, but we all know he ducked Rigo, okay? There's a whole lot of motherfuckers out there that are getting a lot of praise, that are trying to tiptoe their way around fights. Canelo's another guy, okay? So I just want to applaud y'all because too many people nowadays, they want to guard that O or they want to guard that fucking one if they do got a O. You know what I'm saying? They don't ever want to lose because they're worried about not making money. But you guys, y'all actually went in there and did what the fans want you guys to do. And I applaud y'all for that, man. I hope to see y'all again very soon.
Absolutely.
You know what, man? I really appreciate that because like I said, man, I don't want to keep, you know, scratching y'all guys' backs, man. But, you know, that's a hell of a statement because it's really funny. I got people that's like part of our indirect team that's like, well, you don't want to fight Jermall, man. He big as shit, man. You know, you get an easy title shot. I'll get you an easy title shot. Get you a vacant title. I'm like, man, fuck that, man. We come to fight. If you got confidence in your guy, you here to fight. Man, y'all you don't got to fight no motherfucking killer like that, man. Fuck all that. And then after the fight, why y'all want that fight, man? That's a tough fight. You know who congratulated me and said, you know what, man? You a real trainer, man. You said Julian a real fucking fighter to ask for a killer fight like that. Earl Spence.
Absolutely.
It's my man. That's what he said. He said, man, Julian Earl fought in the amateurs. He said, man, he said, Julian, the real fucking fighter, dog, to want to fight Jermall, where he could have waited for a vacant shot or fought for an interim belt, and you know how it go. You know what I'm saying? I know what you're kind of getting at. What's going to be next? What's going to be next is what's best for Julian, because the fights that you want all the time is not always the fights that you get. A lot of people try to say to me, like, man, maybe you should have gave him tougher fights coming up. And I said, y'all all play Monday morning quarterback, but half of y'all was picking him to win.
Yep.
It was fights I couldn't fucking get. I couldn't get them. So what was I going to do? He's 26 years old. What was I going to do? Keep making the kid wait and wait and wait and wait and wait. I couldn't get fights. The only viable contender that I turned down, like I said, I'm 100% transparent, was Willie Nelson in the summer of 2015. And I'll tell you why. I said, listen, we'll take the fight, but Julian is Muslim. He has to practice Ramadan.
Gotcha.
I don't want to take a tough fight like that while we're fasting.
Yeah.
Can we put the fight off a month so he don't have to fast? Because the year before that, he fought a dude by the name of Eliezer Gonzalez, a 14-0 Puerto Rican dude. And he wasn't as sharp as he normally was because we had to fucking train at night all the time, and he wasn't eating right because he was fasting because of his religion. Religion comes first. I'm never going to tell a kid not to fast. When you're dealing with kids and religion, as a trainer, you got to eat that. It's like somebody call you out of work, tell you something happened with their kids, nothing you could do about it. So I said, look, man, I don't want him taking this kind of fight. Fasting. You got to eat while you're training. So Tony Harrison wound up taking the fight, if y'all notice, on that ESPN for inaugural PBC card. That is the only contender of that status that I had to turn down. But guess what we did right after that, fellas? Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
We fought Luciano Coelho in September of that year, who almost knocked Willie Nelson out, lost a split decision to him, so they the same fucking guy.
Damn.
Look at Julian's box rec.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate that, man. You got to take the fight that you can get the build. Coming back, I'm gonna take the best fight for Julian.
Yep.
And he's coming back by the end of March, beginning of April. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the best fight for him. And I honestly want to see, you know, how he is under the gun. Because in his mind, again, he's a fighter. You know what he say? I just got caught. I never saw the uppercut.
Yep.
Okay, fine. I'm going to take the best fight for him. We're not going to take a cold bum. We're going to take a decent, capable guy. And then we right back at it.
Word up.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna be in the gym with no kid for 2 hours a day for the last 7 years to play with him at this time. It's time to make some money and try to see where you at in this game. And if you know, everybody's not meant to go to the Hall of Fame, but you do the best you can. And that's just that. I'm gonna take the smart, but we in the era that does not get applauded. And Paulie Malignaggi said something, man, that stood out. He said, man, you know why these young kids don't take these tough fights? Because of social media.
Absolutely.
Because if they lose, it got to be a winner and a loser. Y'all guys call everybody a bum for losing a freaking fight.
It's true.
He says, so you know what these kids do? They wait and they wait and they wait and they duck and they maneuver and they finish their careers with a little bit of fights and you really never know what they got, but long as they can keep their record pretty.
Yep.
So that's what you're dealing with in this era, man. But no, I don't regret going after Jermall. I really don't, man. I regret some things that transpired up to the fight. But like I said, the waiting and having to go through certain things, but that was out of our control. But I don't regret going after him or not because I believed in my guy, man. And I still do. I really just, you know, you don't have to be. I think Julian is better than Jermall. But you know what? You don't, just because you're better than somebody don't mean you could beat them. You got to be better than them on that night.
That's true.
Jermall was the better fighter on that night. But I don't regret it because he wasn't overmatched. He wasn't outclassed. He got caught with a great punch, and that's just that.
Man.
And that's how I'm always going to be. You know, you got to be smart. Obviously, you know, you don't want to freaking fight Golovkin, Marvin Hagler, and Tommy Hearns back to back to back. You know what I'm saying? You know, you'll freaking have brain damage. But at the same time, man, you in this game to find out where you are. You know, fighters have pride. Men got pride. It's a prideful sport. So you find out where you are, and you're gonna take tough fights, man.
Word.
You know what I'm saying? And that's just what it is. You know. So I appreciate that, man. But we'll be back. And guess what, man? If you don't come back, because there's always a chance that kids don't rebound. If you don't come back, then it just wasn't meant to be. That's all.
Yeah.
You know, and just move on and do something else, man. I ain't, you know, man, listen, life is tough, man. I don't go around giving out no pity parties. You gotta want this shit.
You gotta want it. Yep. I agree 100%. I feel the same way. Man, this was great. You know what I'm saying? My man Breadman is probably one of the realest trainers out there. You know what I'm saying? I talked to a lot of trainers, man, and a lot of them, you know, they not real like this. You know what I'm saying? Even they dialogue, fam, it's not, you know, it's kind of shaded, and it's like, we not these writers. You know what I'm saying? And as you said earlier about our interviewing skills, we just cats that used to box and the amateurs. We love the sport.
No, man, listen. Y'all tag me on all y'all stuff on social media because I really don't know what y'all look like because I get interviewed all the time and I talk to different people, so I don't really know what y'all look like. And when y'all see me at a fight or whatever or an event, walk up to me and say what's up because I probably will walk past y'all because I don't know y'all personally. You know what I'm saying? And I appreciate. I'm always accessible. Like that, man. Like I said, if I'm gonna do an interview when we win, I'm definitely gonna do one when we lose. I'm not. As much as it hurt, you got to be able to stand that if you're gonna be in this game because nobody gonna win all of their fights. Absolutely. So y'all make sure, man. Y'all introduce me to y'all. Introduce yourself to me at the next fight and remind me, you know, who you are, what podcast it was.
Word up, man. I appreciate it, bro, man. Appreciate your time, man. You know. We'll definitely stay in touch. I'm already on your Facebook, I believe. I sent you a message after we did the podcast in September.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think we're already linked up on Facebook. But yeah, man, we definitely gonna keep in touch. You know, we can chop it up. You know, at another time, fam.
Yep. Anytime you want. Thanks again. I really appreciate it.
All right. Appreciate you.
Yep.